appreciate it. Welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Today is Wednesday evening, October 30th, 2019. Let's jump right in. Right now our solar wind speeds are creeping back up to 383.8 kilometers per second with a density of 9.5. Our sun remains blank just like it was this morning, still 27 days in a row without sunspots. That was the last streak that we had without sunspots, was 27 before it was broken up. And here we are, we have an active region that we see coming around the bend, earth facing, still does not yet qualify as a sunspot. That now makes 226 days in 2019 without sunspots. So, KP indice went up a little bit from this morning. Earlier today, we were sitting at a 2 with a 24-hour max of 2, and now we are looking at KP levels in the 3 range for right now, and the 24-hour max is also at a 3. TCI remains unchanged at 5.10, still awaiting that solar wind stream. And let's take a look at the SDO in motion up close. There is the coronal hole that we were speaking of, turning away from Earth now, and it should be sometime overnight tonight where we might have the increased solar wind speeds from this coronal hole that's really pretty much south of our magnetic field. So not expecting a G2 storm or anything of that nature. Let's take a look at our TSI reading. We haven't done that in quite some time. And as of October 21st, we have a reading of 1360.70. So the TSI is still saying that 1360.6 to 1360.7 range. Again, it has been trending that way up and down for the past, well, really for the past year, since 2018, to be honest. It hasn't moved much up or down. Let's take a look at the grandsolarminimum.com at our space weather section, and there is that active region there next to the eastern limb, still not yet named a sunspot, does not have the properties that would qualify it for a sunspot. And it's important to mention that we could be looking at several weeks of spotless conditions on the sun if this active region here doesn't do something within the next 24 to 48 hours. I don't expect to see a sunspot unless we get a pop-up one out of nowhere. But again, our sun is plunging into a grand solar minimum. So this kind of activity, or lack of activity, I should say, should be expected from our star. All right, let's get a hold of today's evening headlines. At least 42 dead and dozens missing after a landslide hits the city of Basuam, Cameroon. This here killed 42 people. This was Monday night, October 28th. Authorities said the slide was caused by several days of heavy rain. This city is located about 120 miles north of Douala. Now, again, it seems like this is a broken record, but we keep hearing these landslides were caused by several days of heavy rains. At least 12 people have sustained severe injuries. About 120 people in this village were affected. Again, not a highly populated area, so when you talk about 42 people are dead and 120 residents were affected, 12 injured, that's a pretty big impact on this small village here that looks like has a lot of work to do to clean up here. Also, an update from the earthquake that we reported live Monday night. The information just kind of travels in a little slow, folks, but 5 people were killed during that earthquake. 2 are missing, and 394 were injured after a shallow 6.6 has been downgraded from a 6.8. Hit Mindanao, Philippines at 104 UTC on October 29th with a depth of 7 kilometers, 4.3 miles. Based on the Philippines National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council report at 2200 October 29th, there were 270 aftershocks. 160 were plotted and 50 were felt, ranging from magnitude of 1.5 to 6.1. Total of 8,405 people were affected in this region. 3,000, so that's 701 families. That's less than half of the families that are affected are in shelters, temporary shelters right now. 5 people were killed, 1 due to trauma from falling debris, 2 due to rock slide, 1 due to falling debris, and 1 due to collapsed wall debris. So this was definitely a structure issue where folks were trapped inside, unfortunately, and were killed by the collapse of some of these structures. There's some pretty interesting pictures here on watchers.news. Again, this is an update. We broke this live during our broadcast. It was a 6.8, and then they dropped it to a 6.6 officially. 133 infrastructures were reported damaged, 94 schools, 11 health facilities, and 7 other public structures, 1 place of worship, and 20 private commercial establishments. Again, we want to thank the Watchers for coming up with the information for us as they update on this earthquake. Check out thewatchers.news. Extremely dangerous fire weather conditions for California. 26 million people under red flag warnings. Now, critical and extremely critical fire weather conditions continue across parts of California through Thursday, October 31st, especially for Southern California. At least 10 fires are burning across the state on October 30th, with more than 26 million people under a red flag warning. PG&E cut off power to about 1 million customers in the Northern California earlier this week in an attempt to prevent the wildfires. Now, I gotta say, PG&E's efforts, a lot of folks out here disagree with me on them trying to prevent forest fires, and maybe they are, maybe they aren't. There's a lot of talk, though, that some of these fires that have been started recently were due to geothermal hotspots that were seen on satellite imagery. And no one's talking about that. Yet we continue to mention about PG&E cutting off the power and them trying to prevent these forest fires. And unfortunately, these things are still sparking up. So if we're shutting off power, obviously these, again, if I think PG&E is doing a good job of proving that man is not causing the fires, they're taking the preventative measures to shut these power grids off. That way they don't spark any fires during the peak part of the season. This is all natural, folks. This has nothing to do with climate or man or anything. These are natural geological events that are happening on our planet, and they'll continue to happen. But nonetheless, not to minimize what's happening here, thankfully, there are no deaths reported at this time. We've only had about 745 acres of fire that has been basically burned in the Getty fire, destroyed 12 and damaged 5 residences. Mandatory evacuations effect for almost 7,100 residents considered threatened. The Kincaid fire has destroyed 206 structures and at least 89 single-family home. Kincaid fire has spread to over 76,000 acres, due in part to heavy wind gusts. That's according to ABC News. So whoever's out there talking about how there's only 600 acres of fire burning right now, that's fake news. This fire has exploded, and 76,000 acres still is not as bad as we saw last year, where over 200,000 acres were being burnt in California. So we'll continue to watch this story, folks, as fire season is not over. Wind gusts have happened as well, 74 mile per hour. Again, more than 5,000 people, 600 fire engines, 27 helicopters, 67 bulldozers are fighting the blaze in a team effort. Arctic cold smashes October records in the west, spreads to the plains, Mississippi Valley. Kind of been talking about this a lot here lately as well. Powerful Arctic cold front is smashing October records in the west. I'm impressed that this particular website is actually admitting that we're having a powerful Arctic cold front smashing October records in the West. Temperatures have plunged below zero in the Rockies and the Great Basin. Yeah, this is good stuff here, folks. Cold weather pattern will persist much of the week. Oh, it happens every time here this week since we've been going live. Another earthquake, folks. This one is a 6.8, originally 6.8, near the area we were just talking about in Mindanao. So this is about, I'd say, 50 miles north of Mindanao, Philippines. And I'll go ahead and pull this up. But this just happened, a 6.8, tentatively, a 6.8 earthquake has just happened in the Philippines, about 50 to 60 miles north of the location of the one that we were just talking about, the damage that we are experiencing from this powerful quake that just happened. Now, here we go. Let me go to the latest USGS. This just happened, so let's see if we can get an actual reading on this on the USGS. Bear with me, folks. I'm pulling it up right now as we speak. There we go. So the most recent earthquake has happened live. You heard it first here on the Grand Solar Minimum News channel. Here we go. 21.5 kilometers deep, so not a very shallow earthquake, but not too deep as well. This one here, now this area is already has experienced several aftershocks, over 160 of aftershocks that are registering in the 1.6 range all the way to the 6.1, and now we have this new earthquake. As you can see where the cluster is, that is the general area of the last quake. Now, this thing is moving up north here in the Philippines along this state line, which is, Mari, these are just borders of the regions. These aren't fault lines here. So just kind of ironic that we're seeing earthquakes on these state line borders. But I talked to Mari about this earthquake the other day, the 6.8 that was dropped to a 6.6. They are saying that was, didn't you say that was on a fault line as well?
I believe so. I'll look it up in a minute.
Mari's doing the research in the background for us. But again, breaking right now, 6.8 earthquake in Tamiang, Philippines that just happened. And let's see if there's no updates as of this moment. There's, again, it just happened. You've seen how long it took for us to get the update from Monday's earthquake, just about 2 days. So let's hope and pray that this particular area here for this earthquake. But guys, I mean, if it's dead smack on land here, it's nowhere near the water. This more than likely is going to cause structural damage as well. Actually, they changed the depth. That's why we saw it go from blue to red just now. It was 21.5. Now they're making it just a little bit deeper at 22 kilometers. So very interesting that we're having information change on the fly right now. But very ironic that we were just talking about. And I did say, I believe it was yesterday morning, that we were on another watch, a 3-day watch. If you guys follow us, Monday through Friday, I do morning updates on the weather and space weather. And also, if I notice conditions are favorable for earthquakes, I'll put it out there, 72-hour earthquake watch. Well, sure enough, here we are 48 hours later, and we have a 6.8 here in the Philippines. So again, space weather, the sun, everything has to do with the sun. And it's just too, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm an expert at this because I can't pinpoint the locations of these. There are other people on the internet like Dutch Sense who knows how to do that. But I think I've learned enough to recognize when conditions are favorable for 6.5s or even 7.0s based on the kind of space weather that we're getting from our sun, solar wind stream, CMEs, you named it. Actually, today was supposed to be the day that we were affected, if we were going to be affected by the CME. This very well could be related to that CME just because of the fact that we are not even seeing, and I'll go to spaceweather.com here on the fly just to see if we're getting an increase of solar wind since we started this broadcast. It has went up 15 kilometers per second. But even SPACEWEATHER.com's slow-moving CME was expected to hit Earth's magnetic field on the 29th, has either missed, been delayed, or its impact was too feeble to notice. No CME, no problem. So at this time this morning, they were pretty much counting this CME off. And again, we'll just have to wait and see other reports. KP of 2 with a 24-hour max of 3. Again, when you're looking at 0, 1, and 2 with coronal holes facing Earth, a lot of times you can expect some seismic activity at 6.5 or stronger within the coming hours of 24 to 72 hours. So that's how I base my predictions on when we might have earthquake and volcanic activity based on the KP indices, what kind of coronal hole situation we're looking at. And really those are the big two factors right there. In this case, we also had a CME, a minor one, that could have had an effect that pinged our magnetic field that caused this seismic activity. So let's get back to the Arctic weather we were talking about before we were breaking with the earthquake. And the reason why I brought this cold weather up is because there's a lot of sub-zero temperatures out here. And there is one area that I'm going to call the weather.com out on. All right. Now they're talking about Alaska temperature, negative 45 degrees. Peter sinks. Okay. They did mention it in a tweet. Good. Because I wanted to point out, like, here's some of the records we're talking about. Bozeman, Montana, minus 14, minus 8 in Wyoming, Casper. Grand Junction is 12 degrees above freezing. Montana, Livingston, 12 degrees. Rawlins, Wyoming, minus 20. That was minus 12 in Livingston as well. Rock Springs, Wyoming, minus 6. Salt Lake City, 14 degrees. But here's the thing. I don't understand why. Well, let's go to this. Let's just go here. Here we go. Yeah, Logan Canyon sink. Negative 35 degrees in Peter Sink and east of Logan early Monday morning, but the record might not last long. Another all-time mark is expected to be reached at the same location overnight on Wednesday. So this record was just smashed, and now they're saying the possibility, if I'm not mistaken here, we are looking at, wow, it dipped to early negative 45. So negative 35 was the first record, and then Wednesday morning, this morning, earlier, negative 45 degrees. So it broke one record one day and smashes it the next day. Negative 45 degrees in Utah. I don't care if it's on a mountain or not. It's not even November yet, folks. So the one thing that the Weather Channel did get right is we are smashing cold records. The most below average temperatures will be in the west and the plains, where highs and lows will be in the 20s and 40s. Below average, sorry. 20 to 40 degrees below average. But they will be highs in the 20s and 40s. Albuquerque, New Mexico, forecasted low, 19 degrees. The record there is 21 back in 1991. Several records here set in 91, by the way. 18 in Amarillo. You guys have already smashed records there. You're about to set another Thursday morning record, beating it by 3 degrees. Cheyenne's going to be 11. That record's safe, minus 1. Denver, 6 degrees. You're going to smash that record from 2002. Salt Lake City is barely going to miss their record of 19 degrees tomorrow morning, when the record was set at 18 degrees in 1935. So very, very, very interesting situation developing here in the Northwest and the plains. I've been talking about this cold shift that's coming to the east. It is coming. Since we're talking about the cold, an early season winter storm has engulfed the central plains and the Midwest and will continue to spread this week. In addition to the record cold, snow has been impacting much of Colorado today as the forward motion of the Arctic front is impeded by the complex terrain. The snow is expected to start moving into the central plains today, into the upper Midwest tonight, and across the Great Lakes on Thursday, Halloween. On Tuesday, October 29th, the storm dumped more than 6 inches of snow at the airport in Denver. That has now been the snowiest October day for them since 2000. It is the snowiest day, that is received. Actually, they're saying 12 inches of snow fell. Report I saw earlier. So this month we've seen 12 inches of snow. Yesterday we saw 6 inches, making it the snowiest October since 2009. And this is the 12th snowiest on record. So here's another correlation. The last snowy October happened in 2009 during what? The right smack dab in the middle of a solar minimum that we were going through, the weakest solar minimum we'd seen in over 150 years. Winter Storm Bessie, as named by the Weather Channel, has scattered light snowfall on October 30th from Colorado to northern Illinois. Moreover, a burst of heavier snow moved through Chicago metro area. Western suburbs of the city saw 25 to 76 millimeters of snow. That's only 1 to 3 inches of snow. Light snow endeavor is expected to continue throughout the day. Meanwhile, the Mile High City experienced around 8 inches of snow at the airport. They actually upped it from 6.6 inches to 8 inches of snow. This cold snap has been something else, folks. Light to moderate snowfall during the daytime Wednesday, October 30th, could be experienced in the Colorado High Plains and the Texas Panhandle northeastward through Kansas, southern Nebraska, northern Missouri, southern Iowa, and northern Illinois. Speaking of Nebraska, our friend Matt Bros from Nebraska, a farmer, showed me some video today, and guess what he was wiping off his equipment on his farm? Snow. That's right. Only 1 to 3 inches fell in that area, but they got 6 inches about a few miles southwest of where he is. So remember, folks, a lot of these farmers are starting their, harvest right now. 2 to 3 inches of rain in the upstate New York region. 1 to 2 inches of rain in Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky. A very nasty snow mix in Chicago. Look at these temperatures. So this is your chance of this is chances for snow to fall along October 31st. 3 to 10% is the very light blue. The moderate blue is 10 to 20%. The purple is 20 to 30, and 30 to 50% in those bright pink areas. So you see the realistic shot of seeing snow on Halloween really lies in the northwestern plains. And the list just goes on and on, talking about Peter Sinks this morning, negative 45 degrees. Watch out, Alaska, your record is in jeopardy too. 3 hours before sunrise, headed to a nearby middle seat to chase the cold. You know, it's not a coincidence. The last time we seen cold temperatures and snow like this in October was in 2009 during a week minimum, one of the weakest that we had in the past 150 years. Not a coincidence, folks. Let's take a look at our live radar real quick as we go over here to see this big mess that we're facing right here in the northeast. The Ohio Valley has been dealing with showers off and on today. Light snow is falling in Wisconsin, Iowa, parts of Nebraska, and near Kansas City, and this snow will go eastward tomorrow. Some areas near Chicago could get 5 to 8 inches. For the most part, this is going to be a 1 to 3 snow event in Illinois, Missouri, and parts of Indiana as well. But as we see right here, Columbus, Cleveland, Erie, PA, Buffalo, New York, and Syracuse, we're getting ready to start this rainstorm here that should last. Unfortunately, if you're going beggars night, trick-or-treating tomorrow night, it will be a wet one. But the good news is we will not be freezing. Temperatures will still be in the mid-60s for highs, as nighttime lows only reaching into the 40s. But Friday is a different story as far as temperatures. The dark purple areas, those are freeze warnings. The blue boxes are winter weather advisories, and other areas that haven't had freezes that are now in a freeze warning. The light blue area is a severe weather statement, which possibly, and a freeze watch. There's so many light blues here. So freeze watch for Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, parts of Alabama, and Mississippi, along with Arkansas and the southeastern part of Missouri. Let's take a look at our GFS ideal here, what we're looking at for the next several days. Here's that storm moving through the northeast. This is Halloween. Plenty of rainstorm coming through. Heavy rain to follow overnight into Friday morning after Beggars Night. So the worst of this storm for folks in the northeast is only beginning probably right as you're done wrapping up your trick-or-treat. So according to the GFS, if you live in New York and north, you will probably be okay as far as your Beggar's Night. It will deal with some rain showers, but nothing too terrible. It's overnight that the real problems start here in the Northeast, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, parts of Virginia, snow wrapping around in Indiana and parts of Ohio by the time it's all said and done. Look at all that rain on Friday for the first 12 hours of the day. Heavy rain for Albany region, upstate, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut. When this storm moves out, colder air will be behind it. Some snow showers in the Adirondacks. A little bit of a break as far as weather goes. Wisconsin, you're going to take the snow showers as long as Michigan as well by the beginning of the weekend Saturday. By the end of the weekend, we could see some very light, but we could see some lake effect snowfall starting on November 3rd. This is Sunday. Colder temperatures settling in the Ohio Valley in the Northeast. A clipper system moving in from Canada through North Dakota, Minnesota, into Wisconsin and the Great Lakes. Staying all rain for now, but as this cold front continues to go further south by the 6th of November, that story is going to change. More snow for the northern plains. A huge winter mess to develop right over Iowa on November 8th. That's next Friday. Heavy rain for Indiana and Ohio. Look at that. We were showing this actually earlier Monday, and so far GFS is still thinking that we're going to get this really big swath of heavy rain. Now it's further south. It was more in the Ohio Valley through Louisiana. Now it's starting more in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and moving through the Tennessee, Nashville, Knoxville, not Knoxville, but definitely the border here between Kentucky and Tennessee. Knoxville's a little further east. But nonetheless, you will get your share of that moisture as that storm continues to move to the east. Now on Friday into Saturday, that cold front really changes things here. And folks that live in New York and in the New England area, this probably is going to be our first winter storm. Next Friday, November 8th, going into Saturday, we will start to see rain. And as the overnight hours approach, we'll start to see that freezing rain, possibly mixing in with sleet before getting snowfall. Now, the ground is not frozen here in the capital region or anywhere in New York. So whatever does fall is going to stick mainly to the grassy surface and the trees. My guess is a quick 3 to 5 is possible. But we really need to watch the mid-Atlantic states near DC, Virginia. That area could see some pretty heavy ice. So our eyes are on this area as we're probably going to see, realistically this winter, where this little area that I'm moving my cursor on, we're probably going to see lots of icing events this year through this particular region of the country, just like last year, but maybe even a little bit more. As we get to November 10th and closer to the middle of the month, this is where I lose more faith in the forecast, as right now we're just playing out 11 days out. This is just speaking on hypothetical ideas, what the patterns are showing us, and it's showing us that cold air is going to hang around in the Northeast, the Northern Plains, and the Midwest. And yeah, another major winter storm is developing on the 12th of November, Tuesday. Now, Joe Bastardi said this last week, actually, that there could be some historic snow events within the first 2 weeks of November. Joe, I think you're right. And by the way, this will be the third time that Amarillo, Texas gets snow, all right, in just 3 weeks. Meanwhile, snow showers developing along the East Coast and the Ohio Valley. And this storm seems to fizzle out according to the GFS. This cold front pushes everything to the south. All the moisture goes back into the Gulf. High pressure is dominating much colder air across the United States on the 15th. Going into the 16th of November, we see lots more snow in the Northern Plains into the Great Lakes. My guess is that continuous pattern will show us snow showers into that weekend. Now let's go check out our friends over the pond here, folks. UK, we saw this morning. More rain coming your way on the 1st of November. France, Germany, Austria, you're going to get your share of rain as well. Look at the size of this low pressure system. Folks, it's going to affect you in Belgium, Netherlands, Amsterdam, definitely going to have lots of rain showers. Hamburg, also Denmark, you could see a few rainy days yourself as we continue into November. And also, not that we haven't seen snow here already, but Norway definitely feeling like winter very early on, as multiple rounds of snow in Norway and Sweden will affect the region. But here as we get into the middle part of November, Still tons of rain to deal with across the UK and Europe, Norway and Sweden with another big heavy round of snow on the November 8th, just like how we're kind of experiencing it in the Northeast. And then heavy snow across the Alps and just plain out wet for the UK, Manchester, Liverpool. You folks out there in Ireland as well will experience this. Dublin. I mean, you guys, this is going to be a possibility for more flooding happening in your region. We just reported on it this morning. Over 152 weather-related alerts were thrown out in the UK for rivers swelling and flooding through their banks. So lots to talk about. Just like I showed earlier this morning, we had several alerts that were in the region, and it looks like that flooding possibility is going to continue to be with us for those folks in the UK. Now, I guess some good news, or typical news here, the USGS has now modified the earthquake from earlier from a 6.8 down to a 6.5 and a depth of only 10 kilometers. So they dropped the depth from 22 to 10, and they dropped the magnitude from 6.8 to 6.5. Nonetheless, we still call it a 6.5 here at the Grand Solar Minimum, and within less than 72 hours, we are experiencing an earthquake just about 50 miles northeast of the original one here in Medina, if I'm saying that correctly. Mara, would you like to come over here and say hello to everyone in the chat tonight? They've all been good, I hope. They better have, anyway.
I'm here. They're always good
They better
in
be.
the chat.
Oh,
I absolutely love this GSM community.
They're awesome folks.
And we're having lots of fun. Alan says, Lady Mari, you're supposed to be writing down all our names and sending us homemade peanut butter cookies.
So they think you are Mrs. Doubtfire.
What have you told these people about me? I mean...
That she's lovely and sweet, and she'll even knit you some socks.
I did mention something about getting in the kitchen yesterday, didn't I? That's
might have been.
So now I'm Betty Crocker.
Betty Crocker / Mari / top researcher.
I mean, that's a tall
Matthew
task.
wants you to send his cookies warm. And Lisa McGrath said, Ronson, go south if you want your cookies warm.
Well, he was the first on the list, apparently. He's like, when Alan said, taking names, sending cookies.
Sanskrit says he wants soup.
Matthew's like, hand in the air, me first. He said...
Matt says it stems from the pie conversation.
He actually wrote in the chat, Mari said I was top on that list.
Matt, absolutely. All farmers are tops.
Obviously, he knows. And Matthew Bros said that he broke his snow virginity this week. I don't know.
I have the video.
TMI.
I'll show you that video. He sent it to me. It was awesome.
I saw that video and I looked at it.
Snow off.
Shut up. Don't talk like that.
What? I'm telling you about the video he sent me.
It was horrific. You sent it to me, and then he also sent me stuff. I still have to look. I haven't been on Facebook. So awful with
Sanskrit. No soup for you.
People that don't know what people are saying in the chat are thinking you've lost your mind.
Everybody's done now.
What is Jake doing?
The views are gone.
What is going on? This is why Jake doesn't look at the chat when he's...
I'm like a kid with ADHD. There's a squirrel running across the street. Oh, look!
You're like, what's his face? Will Ferrell. Yeah. By the way, speaking of high energy, I want to say hello to a good friend of mine, Dylan. If you're watching, thank you once again for you continuing to tune in and learn, my friend. Keep it up. Look at you.
I know.
We have a lot of new faces in the chat.
Squirrel!
I've seen Vlad in here before.
Yes.
There's some Sanskrit. I can't say that.
No soup for you.
No. And then Baylor Berry and Strutting Eagle, and there's all kinds of new faces. I see Lisa. Lisa's been in here before. Elizabeth says thanks.
Thor, you are a good boy. For now.
But Jake is not a good boy.
Thor is.
Thor asked. He was not in our last live chat. He's like, Martin, did you get my email? And I said, well, Thor, I mentioned it on Monday's night show how sweet and gentle you were with Jake with that horrible victory that you had. So, anyway.
Matt says Thor is new. Yeah, this is a good thing I don't ever watch the chat because this is very distracting.
We have a great group of people.
I would never get the show done.
It's so easy. Like, I don't even really need moderators because everyone here is so respectful and nice. We have our moments adults? We have our moments where we get the odd troll after people have batted them around. They either get exhausted or I get tired and I just boot them. But normally, the chat is very pleasant. So, and speaking of pleasant things, I'm pretty happy with how the website has gone. I have completely redone the forums. Now, the forums don't work or look that great when no one's using them. So I really would like people to test it out. I tried to do like a beta thing. I only have like 3 people who message me back. So I don't know. Maybe we'll just go with it and see. I go to thegrandsolarminimum.com. There's a new way of logging in. I apologize if you had an existing account and your account got lost. I'm sorry about that. I thought I backed up my database. I didn't. And even with that, I'm glad I didn't because this fresh start, the site is running so much faster.
Matt wants to beat test from his phone.
I have... I can't talk.
I'm sorry. I'm not helping.
Forums. So
where are the forums?
Let's make the forums like an online GSM library. Did you just...
That was a virtual spank.
You're doing sound effects?
Well, Alan said to do it, so I thought maybe...
Who walks around? Okay, I'm not going to get there. I'm going to say something I shouldn't.
About
anyway.
Okay, so wait. If you guys want more spankings from Mari, super chat us, huh?
Okay,
how much is a spanking worth?
No, because YouTube gets 30%. Stop
It's a joke. It's a joke.
I'll hit you back. Who wants to hear me hit Jake?
Yeah.
Anyway,
let's have an auction. How much money would you pay to put her on camera right now? Punch me right in the face. Go ahead.
Stop.
I'm joking.
You have taken this way too
far. I have.
Far.
It's the orange diet soda, I think.
It's only Wednesday. It's not a Friday night. It's not a Saturday night. Well, it's the middle of the week.
You got to be pumped up, man. You got to be pumped up. Jesse is MIA again. Well, hopefully he's doing some farmer stuff. So,
he's been active in our Facebook group.
Matthew, I'm surprised you're...
Whoever's using our Facebook group, I totally cut you off too, by the way. That's all right. Whoever's using our Facebook group, try our website out. It starts with other people posting and other people replying to those posts.
Mari, you're going to make a private video anyway for those folks. That way they know how to use our website? Or is that just a thought?
I was going to do a live stream and then show people how to do it live. And then I was thinking, well, if we have the live stream going, I'm going to crash the site because then everyone's going to go to the site at the same time. And, I'm not paying for the most luxurious hosting plan because it already costs a fortune. So,
hello, Doug. Happy Halloween.
Anyway, I got a bunch of people that have sent me emails in Gmail, Facebook, Twitter. I will get back to you. If you're listening to this, it just takes some time. Because I've had Jake has witnessed me with the website dealing with sprucing it up, how much work it's been. So we will get back, sign in. The social media logins are all there. When you go to thegrandsolarminimum.com, you can register. It's as easy as just if you're logged into Facebook or Twitter. I don't know if the Twitter login works. I'm still working on that. But it's easy. Just you can click in and sign in with I know Facebook's working. The Facebook login's working, or just your email. And I think the email requires me to approve it. So
it's a little bit different. There is an improvement on the membership now.
Because I'm not a robot. So I actually manually approve things because if I don't, then we get attacked with all these crazy bots that want to be my friend and post these stupid offers about the latest and greatest, pills that do things and dates and wives.
We don't have a lot of those ads anymore, thank God.
Like the spam, if you don't lock sites down, is like it's crazy, especially on our site. So
I agree.
But join me on grandsolarminimum.com. I'm lonely over there. Jake's sort of there. Right?
I do as much as I can when I can, folks.
So, do you have anything else for these lovely people in the chat?
That's going to do it.
Alan, he is misbehaving. Why does he want me spanked? I don't understand.
People are bored with me, I guess.
Do you want cookies and spanks?
So what is it going to be, folks? Is it going to be spankings or cookies? It can't be both. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. I think we've over-welcomed our stay here tonight. Guys, thank you for tuning in once again this evening. We will have another live update in the morning. And I'm going to try to stick with the UK weather headlines in the morning. I figure our friends from Europe are going to be able to watch more in the morning. We still invite you to come over at nighttime as well if you can't get to sleep. But either way, we appreciate your support. And we're going to try to do the best we can to keep our friends across the pond updated as well as us here in the lower 48 and other parts of the world. Until tomorrow morning, folks, hope you have a pleasant evening, and we will talk soon. Good night, everybody.
Do you like this show? Give us a thumbs up. Want to support us more? Share to your favorite social media platform. Buy a t-shirt or become a Patreon. All links are in the description below.